Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really diving headfirst into the music world. We're looking at the forces shaping the songs you hear, how artists connect with you, and crucially, this ongoing fight for control. Our mission really is to cut through all the noise and understand this battle for, well, the soul of grassroots music.
Yeah, it's a really interesting tension. You've got what you could call this wild garden, right? That's where the vital organic music happens, the engine room, basically, where artists grow and find their audience.
Okay, Vanja.
But then there's this constant pressure from the corporate cage, always trying to fence that garden in.
The corporate cage, right.
Hmm.
So let's talk about how that cage got built. Wasn't there that huge wave, the great consolidation,
Absolutely.
where the industry just shrank massively, like from a big 6 labels down to just a big 3 by, what, 2011?
That's right. And they ended up controlling something like 88% of the market. Universal Music Group alone had nearly 30%. That's huge.
88%.
But the game's changing again. It's not just about owning the songs anymore. The really insidious part now is controlling the infrastructure.
Infrastructure, what do you mean by that exactly?
Think about the essential plumbing of the industry. Digital distribution, royalty accounting, the behind-the-scenes stuff. Big players like Universal are buying up companies that provide these services, like Downtown Music Holdings.
So independent artists end up having to rely on their biggest competitors just to get their music out there or get paid?
Precisely. You're forced into their ecosystem. And this connects to something else quite concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see the structure, the consolidation, the infrastructure control.
Yeah.
But how does this trap actually feel for an artist day to day? What are the specific legal or financial mechanisms?
Well, there are a few key legal chokeholds, let's call them. One big one is the work made for hire clause.
Work made for hire.
Sounds technical, but what it means is the label legally owns the recording from the moment it's made. The artist is essentially treated like a contractor. It kind of strips away that ownership, that legacy, right from the start.
So the art becomes a corporate asset immediately.
Exactly. Then you've got the 360 deal.
Ah, yes, the 360. Heard a lot about those.
The label takes a cut from pretty much everything the artist does. Live shows, merch, endorsements, you name it.
So not just record sales anymore, it's the whole career.
Whole package. And underpinning all this, a really significant knowledge gap.
Yeah.
Many artists, especially early on, just don't have the legal or financial literacy to navigate these contracts.
Which leads to them getting a raw deal.
It often leads to what some call dispossession. They walk away with maybe only 10-15% of their music's earnings, despite being the creative force.
Just 10 or 15%.
Yeah.
It's amazing anyone creates anything under those conditions.
Yeah.
But artists do push back, right? There's always been resistance.
Oh, definitely. From Punk's whole DIY thing to now.
So how has it evolved? It feels less like just shouting and more, I don't know, strategic now.
That's a great way to put it. It is more strategic. Look at Frank Ocean. He fulfilled his major label contract, then boom, the very next day, releases Blonde independently on his own label.
Right. Blonde. Went straight to #1.
And he kept all the profits, pure strategy. And then, of course, you can't ignore Taylor Swift.
The re-recording revolution.
Exactly. Releasing Taylor's version of her old albums. It's genius, really. She devalues the original masters owned by someone else, regains control, and turns this business dispute into a massive statement about artist empowerment.
Incredibly powerful as a narrative. But realistically, is that something only superstars can pull off? Or are there tools now for emerging artists to fight back to?
That's the crucial question. And the good news is, yes, there's a whole new ecosystem emerging.
This blueprint called the new Symphony. The whole mission really is to explore how this decentralized approach could potentially, fix what many see as a pretty broken music industry. Because the core problem, as we see it now, is just immense control held by very few players. You've got the big labels, the streaming platforms that basically set all the rules. And artists, well, they often end up with a tiny slice of the pie and, frankly, not much say.
Yeah, and it's pretty stark when you look at the actual figures. We're talking platforms like Spotify, Apple Music. The payout rates are incredibly low, somewhere between, 0.0003 and maybe 0.009 per stream.
Wow, per stream.
And here's the kicker, especially if you're an independent artist listening right now. You'd need something like 333,000 streams on Spotify just to earn $1,000. Think about that. 333,000 plays. Yeah, it's a massive hurdle.
It really is. Yeah. And, it goes beyond just the money, right? There's this whole walled garden issue we need to talk about. These platforms, they deliberately hold back super valuable fan data from the artists.
Exactly. Information like where are your most dedicated listeners? How often do they actually play your track?
Without that, building a genuine community, planning effective marketing, even routing a tour efficiently, it becomes incredibly difficult.
And that's where this new Symphony concept really tries to shift things. It uses Web3 ideas, particularly a DAO, a decentralized organization. So instead of some CEO in a boardroom making decisions,
It's the community.
it's the token holders, yeah. Artists, fans, people who actually have a stake. They get to vote on key things like how fees are structured, platform rules, that sort of stuff. Power gets pushed out to the edges, to the users themselves.
Okay, but hang on. If there's no central company, no Spotify HQ, how do you guarantee fairness? How do you build trust in a system like that? The blueprint mentions two key pillars for this.
Right. The first is trustlessness, which sounds weird, I know. It doesn't mean zero trust. It means you're shifting trust away from fallible human intermediaries like a company or its executives and putting it onto a transparent protocol.
Onto the code itself.
Exactly. Onto the code managed by smart contracts. These are bits of code that automatically execute agreements when certain conditions are met. The rules are baked in and visible to everyone.
Okay, transparent rules run by code. And the second pillar, the append-only ledger.
Yeah, think of it like a permanent, unchangeable record book. Once a transaction is recorded, maybe a song sale or a royalty payment gets logged, it cannot be erased or altered, ever.
So like a digital receipt that can't be faked or lost.
Precisely. It creates this completely transparent, immutable audit trail, which directly tackles the, let's be honest, often murky and opaque accounting practices we see in the traditional industry.
No more creative accounting hiding where the money went.
Hopefully not. And this structure, theoretically, leads to a radically different economic model for artists. We're talking artists potentially keeping 90% to even 100% of their earnings from direct sales or subscriptions through the platform.
Wait, 90 to 100%. That sounds almost unbelievable compared to the current standard. What's the catch? Are there hidden fees? Like network costs?
That's a fair question. And yes, there are transaction costs in blockchain systems, gas fees, things like that. The Blueprint's challenge is making those minimal compared to the huge cut labels take. But maybe even more importantly, those smart contracts we mentioned, they can automate royalty distribution instantly. The moment a sale happens or a stream is registered, the contract automatically splits the revenue and sends it to everyone involved, the main artist, the producer, co-writers, based on splits agreed upon beforehand. No more waiting months for royalty checks that might be inaccurate.
That alone is a game changer for collaboration. And it also changes things for the listener, doesn't it? This fan as stakeholder idea.
Yeah. Right. The idea is listeners aren't just passive consumers anymore. They can become active participants. Imagine being able to buy a tiny fraction, like a share of a song you love, and then you actually earn a small piece of the royalties it generates.
So everyone's interests are aligned. Fans benefit directly if the song does well.
Exactly. It fosters a much deeper connection between artists and their supporters. But we do need to touch on the challenges.
Okay, because this all sounds great conceptually, but Web3 tech can be...
It absolutely can be. There's a steep learning curve, no doubt. Things like managing crypto wallets, private keys.
Yeah.
It's not user-friendly for most people right now.
So how does the new Symphony plan to get regular people, regular music fans using this?
The strategy mentioned is essentially to hide the complexity. Use the power of smart contracts, but build really intuitive interfaces on top. Think simplified onboarding, making wallet management feel maybe as simple as logging into a streaming service. That's the goal anyway. Easier said than done, of course.
It's a big technical hurdle then. User experience is key.
Crucial. And one more point on the tech check. The plan also involves storing the actual music files on decentralized networks. Things like IPFS, basically a way to store data that isn't controlled by a single company.
Okay, so if the music itself lives on this decentralized network, resistant to censorship or just being deleted by a corporation, does that make the music itself sort of immortal, unshackled from corporate control in a fundamental way? And what could that mean for artistic freedom? Something to think about.